So you decided to take a risk.
Take a risk,
which
yeah.
meant what? You moved back to...
Which would mean I'd have to do that, but I couldn't live there without a job, and it's harder to get a job as a foreigner. So there was the only opportunity would be to get married.
So it was your idea to get married?
In my head it was. That makes
Right,
sense.
well,
But I was visiting for holidays, met up with some people I'd not seen in a long time, spent time with my beau, and basically he was saying, I'd just love for you to stay out here. I said, well, I can't come again for another year. And he said, I'd just love for you to stay here. I said, yeah, but work would be good if I get some work. But I said, I can't work in your country without having a visa.
Yeah.
And I can't get a visa unless I have work.
Yeah.
So there's very few options left. I said to him, do you know of any other ways I can do this?
Was that a big, massive hint?
Yeah.
Okay.
It took a while
right.
though. It took a while.
For the
He's
penny
like,
to drop.
well, maybe you could drive to the border every 6 months and go over, come back, get your visa endorsed again, which I know people do. It's not illegal. It's totally fine, legit. But I didn't really, big country. I don't be flying to a border or driving to a border every 6 months. So I said, well, that's not really a feasible kind of thing I want to do. Do you know of any other way that this could happen?
Okay.
And then he said, well, we could get married.
Right.
And I said, yes, we could do. That could be a possibility. We could do that.
It sounds all very, none of this sounds particularly romantic. It all sounds very... This is what I need to happen.
I mean, at the end of the day, he wanted me to live with him, and I wanted to live with him in his country.
Was there love there?
Yeah, totally. From what I thought there was.
From your side?
Yes, yeah. From my side.
How did it compare to? I mean, because it doesn't sound as if you even mentioned that it was. It sounds very practical and functional.
The act of getting married to live there was practical and functional. If I didn't have to do that, I would have just lived there.
Right. Okay.
There wouldn't have been any hesitation. I would have just packed up my bags and gone and lived there and got a job.
So you didn't marry him, so what happened?
Yeah, well, again, I may be no nonsense, straight talking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still want to be treated like a lady. I still want someone to go down on bended knee and propose to me.
So
I still
quite
want
old-fashioned, quite traditional.
Yeah, still want a ring to be put on my finger. I'm not one of these ladies going to go and buy her own engagement ring, which I had seen it. I had seen it with ladies from Europe.
Yeah.
Providing for their men, I'm sure I found it very strange.
Okay.
I thought, that's just crazy.
Okay.
Even if you're in love, you still want the dynamics to be the right way, in my head.
Okay.
So I waited. And I waited.
For the ring?
Yes, and it made sense. I thought, well, maybe I can wait 6 months, sorts himself out, buys the ring, sends it over. It wasn't like it was not talked about it. Which way should I send it? DHL, FedEx. It was discussed.
But it just never materialised.
Oh, someone's borrowed the money and I can't get it back. Because there's always something.
Always,
yeah,
right.
To the point of, this is clearly not going to happen. Even to the visa application. Oh, I can't make the interview. There's always something.
So what was going on in your mind when you started?
Frustration.
Ah, so you were just frustrated.
Yeah, and then it got to the point where the interview was made for the Home Office. If you don't go to the High Commission, then you really aren't serious. That's a really important step, going to the High Commission for your visa interview. And I think it took 3 attempts, and then they finally went.
Right.
Yeah, it finally went to the interview, which I didn't think it boded well when you've already declined interview dates already.
Right.
So it got to a point where it was like, regardless of visa interview, you still haven't provided a ring. So the decision was made, it's not going to happen.
You decided that?
Yeah, done.
So I know you, of course, and so I knew what was going on. I heard your side of things, what was going on. I could see there was, what I know about you is you're quite dominant, quite strong. Nothing wrong with that. You were taking charge. But you mentioned also that you wanted to be treated like a lady. Those were your words.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
there's kind of like there's a dynamic off there. So I showed Zonya some principles to practice, some techniques to change things around. So because you were doing so much, just to calm down a little bit, just to relax a little bit, just to chill out, give him some space, and just let him take control, so to speak. And so what happened? And you wanted to do that?
Yes, I wanted to do that. I wanted to do that.
Because you were frustrated, you were stressed out.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So I did that, like you said, allowed that to occur, and it just became apparent that he wasn't really the person that I wanted.
Right.
Not necessarily personality, just in the way he was, the way he wasn't able to do the things that I would consider to be natural and quite easy and quite straightforward.
You were looking for, could he take charge?
Yeah.
Could he take charge of a problem? Could he take care of you? You were looking, instead of you doing everything, which you're very clearly more than capable doing, but you didn't want that anymore.
Yes.
So you were looking, okay, let's just see how we handle situations that don't go well, and that's life. And that's what you were looking for now, looking to see whether is this man a suitable mate for me, because I don't think you did that with the previous
No, I didn't.
one.
I didn't.
So this was about you kind of learning, let's just see if this guy is the right guy for me.
Yeah.
And I think this is a big problem sometimes, that we can get carried away with feelings, and that's great, of course,
and if we enjoy doing it,
and you feel for someone,
you want to do it,
and then sometimes what we don't think about, and I think this is a major reason why a few years down the line you're not feeling that attraction, or divorce at a very high rate, is because we haven't looked appropriately at the beginning, choosing the partner wisely, engaging your head as well as your heart and everything else. Is this person, do we share the same values? Do we share the same values in the sense of, is there a real future together, like children as an example, financially as an example, because that can be a big problem in relationships, about finances, arguments around finances. And is it a right match? And so that's the type of thing I asked Zonya to really consider, because she was so frustrated and stressed out. And that's a sign of something perhaps not being quite right. So basically I was asking Zonya to engage her mind, to start to look at things a little bit differently and have a different approach to things. And she's smiling
Very different approach.
She's smiling now because she's been through that process and she's gained the benefits of that. So because of that, you saw things very differently.
Yes.
Between you two, and you saw him differently.
Yes.
And it wasn't a bad thing that this happened.
Not by any means.
Can you say?
It was just made things very clear.
Clarity. So if you have any confusion about your relationships and you want clarity and understanding, this is what I'm talking about here.
Things were extremely clear. Once we'd done some of your practices, things were extremely clear. Yeah. It's crystal.
And so what was that clarity that for you?
That I needed to choose somebody that was appropriate to my needs.
Right. So no confusion.
None at all.
Wow, that's very clear. I'm getting that. And then from that point on, there was no, you were happy with your choice, that for you
yes, and I told him that.
Right.
Yes.
And there was no going back.
There was no going back. No.
Because you had that sense of,
yes, that sense of clarity. It was clear. I knew what I needed, what I wanted, and regrettably for him, it wasn't him.
Right. Okay. But you felt good about that decision?
Absolutely. I felt good in myself that I'd come to some understanding of what I actually wanted and needed.
And so would that be fair to say that had you had those skills with your previous partner, the one who you were living with, would you have seen that differently? Would he have been the guy for you?
I'd probably not the guy for me, if I'm honest with you, from the very beginning.
Exactly. And isn't that interesting?
And if I had the skills, I would have managed it a lot better.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
He may not have been the guy for you. Let's say that he might have been.
Yeah, I could have managed it a lot better.
So for you, there were things that you wish you could have done differently anyway with your first major guy anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really good to see, because it's important to reflect on relationships instead of going, never that type of guy again is actually looking at your part in the relationship and seeing maybe what you could have done better, where you think he might have been able to done better for you, assessing what you feel your needs are, and then being clear about that so you can actually choose appropriately, and so you'd have a much better chance of having a more successful, long-lasting, happy relationship.